There is so much opportunity on YouTube. I actually look at content creators that are coming up, content creators that have been around for a very long time. And ultimately, there are things that just need to click for a creator to really help them be successful. And you don't need big teams to be successful on YouTube. You don't need, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and you don't need these empires to create. All you got to do is be very passionate about something and then really understand how YouTube works. Over the weekend, I was able to fly into North Carolina and visit one of my partners, Mr. Beast, and we were talking VidSummit because VidSummit's coming up in September. Really excited about that. But seeing what he's built, I mean, he has hundreds and hundreds of employees, and ultimately he's understand how YouTube works, and he's really leveraging his YouTube empire. And then it's literally started to cross over into the world, which I've been really passionate about, which is the creator economy, which is, you could become your own brand and you can actually have sub businesses or lateral businesses that you own that you're becoming your brand deal and you're really pushing it out, which we went in depth and talked about a couple of his big projects, which is Feastables, his chocolate. He's obsessed with chocolate right now, which is great. And he's just building this huge empire. Now, for me, there's some of you that don't want that. Some of you just want to keep it small and nimble, and you want to succeed around YouTube. And if that's you, you need to watch this live stream. You have to be engaged with this live stream. I'm going to introduce you to Andre in a minute or two. And his journey, I think, is a lot like most of you right now, or you can relate to maybe one or two of these aspects from it. And ultimately, when you're passionate around something, it's like we want that to convert into money. We want that to convert into visibility. And it could just be that one thing that can actually lead to opening the doors, opening the floodgates for really building something bigger on YouTube. And so for me, really excited about our live stream today. And ultimately, we're going to open it up to give you an opportunity to ask us questions at the end of the live stream. So you want to stick around for all of it. Now, the key thing, more than anything else, this is what I found, is there's certain components that you need to succeed on YouTube. I actually wrote the book about that. That's called The YouTube Formula. You can see it in the link in the description below. But one of the things that we talk about is really surrounding yourself by people that just get it. And if you're having conversations about the things that you need to focus in on, that's where you can start to see transformation and improvement. If you're not trying to compete with everybody else, but you're trying to compete with yourself and realize, hey, every time I put out a video, I want to make sure I really understand the viewer. I really understand the niche. I really understand what the value proposition of the video is and deliver on that and then learn from it. And that's one of the cool things that I love. So for me, really excited about it. And then two, I'm excited for a couple big reasons. And one being which is we got VidSummit coming up in September. I'm actually putting the schedule together right now. We just locked in our first keynote speaker. Haven't announced it yet, but oh wow. Oh, wow. What's really been beautiful about that was seeing, I won't give hints. I'm seeing where this person, this creator came onto YouTube, had that one little moment of clarity, and it opened up the door, similar to what we're going to talk about here with Andre. And ultimately, this creator was able to create an empire around her content. I just I just put it in there, so it's a her. It's one of the biggest female creators on the platform, but it's just been beautiful to watch, and I can't wait to have you all learn from her. Now, if you're really interested in coming to VidSummit, this is the year you want to do it. Last year was amazing. If you came to VidSummit, put it in the comments. This is the year to do it. It's basically September 3rd through the 5th. Dallas, Texas. We have a new home. And let me show you this home. Look at this. Look at this place. It's just so amazing. And ultimately, this is a very beautiful location. And we're really, really excited about it. And then two, we learned a lot from going to this location last year. And it was just amazing. So if you came, put it in the comments. If you went, virtually, that's great. But ultimately, I want to just give you a tease of where it's at. And then two, I'm giving away 2 tickets today to VidSummit. So you want to stick around for this. This is going to be an amazing live stream. I can't wait to give you all the information that you're looking for as you're coming on, just so that things make sense. But ultimately, when you stick around, you might win those tickets to VidSummit. So let me go ahead, give you a little clip of what VidSummit is if you're not familiar with it. If you are familiar with it, this will bring some energy, really bringing some excitement into VidSummit, which we're all excited about. So I am really excited because this is our 11th year, and I can't wait to really tell you the schedule. There's a lot that's going on. I can say that there was a couple moments in the YouTube journey that really made the biggest difference. One is when we had the partner program where YouTube started to share with the revenue with creators. That was like the biggest because it created the creator economy, where before you just post anything and there wasn't really much motivation to build a business. But now this is like so big, the opportunity is there. And so you're able to see this economy transform to what it is today. Now, I'm really excited because there's a couple big keynotes that are coming with industry experts that are really moving the needle. There's a lot going on with AI. And then two, there's ways to create a lot more money that I can't wait to share, because a lot of the rising generation, they're already doing this, and they're actually making like 8 times more money than YouTube, but they're still on YouTube and they're leveraging this. I can't wait to get into that. So really excited for that. You don't want to miss out. It's September 3rd through the 5th. I'm here to tell you, I just want to warn you right now. We already sold out 2 hotel rooms. Like it is like it's crazy. Not rooms, but like hotels. I guess that would be real easy. We sold 2 hotel rooms. Yeah. But no, like 2 full hotels. We already sold out on them. It's crazy. So this is going to be the biggest year yet. We got a lot of surprises for you. You want to stick around at the end of the live stream, and we're going to give away a couple tickets to VidSummit 2024. That's our 11th year. We've been around for a while, and you want to do that. So really excited about that. Now, getting back into why you're all here today, is we're all looking for an opportunity to grow on YouTube. There's things that we try, we're really passionate about it, and there's a lot that we can actually learn when we surround ourselves by the right people or we get the right type of information. I'm hoping that today a lot of you will have that aha moment where it just clicks with you on what to focus in on, where to prioritize your time. And ultimately, you don't need to create a huge team. You just need to understand the process and the system and the passion, and then create a model for you. And that's what I love. You can have the model, like I was talking about with Mr. Beast, where he has hundreds and hundreds of employees and doing some crazy, crazy things, getting picked up by a TV show on Amazon where he did over $100 million just to do one season of a show, which I love. And ultimately, you know, you can be a small creator in the sense that you maybe have 1 or 2 employees. Maybe that's it. Maybe you're a solo creator. You can do that too, which there's a lot of great things to do. So this is a live stream for you. Can't wait for you to get all the detail. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Now, I can tell you on YouTube, there's a couple things that can get really, really frustrating. You might see the opportunity on YouTube. You come onto YouTube and you start a channel, but it's not where your passion and love is. And you can get very, very overwhelmed. And that's where I want to introduce Andre, because he just quite a few years back, you know, I'll let him tell his story. He felt that way. He started YouTube, felt that way, and ultimately started a path where he's able to get over 500 million views on YouTube. 500 million, which is great. So let me go ahead and introduce him on. Hey, Andre, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I'm so excited that you're joining us. There's a lot of energy right here in the chat. But I'm really, really grateful that you're going to stop your busy life and take time to share. Why don't you kind of start out like your journey, how you got on YouTube and where you started. And I know people are very curious. They can find, there's a link below in the description where they can go to see your channel. But if you wouldn't mind sharing kind of your beginning of your journey until you got stuck, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I actually initially started as a fitness channel. This was like in 2016, and I got quickly overwhelmed with it because I had no clue what I was doing. And then 2 years later, I started playing video games again. Started playing basketball because I'm a big basketball fan. And I got really good at this mode called My Team. And my friend's like, you should start create a YouTube channel. Like, yeah, no one's going to watch me. You know, he's like, but you're really good at it. So I was surprised. I got monetized within 30 days. I started making good money. I got locked in a sponsor that paid me really well. But the mode was slowly dying. And I kind of expected them to take out the auction house, which is what I depended on, what helped me grow. And I was kind of stuck at like 50K. I got some great dreams, but like I was stuck. And I was like, how do I get past this? And I was almost like not enjoying it anymore. It was like, it felt like a job, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's stop there for 1 second. So you started a fitness channel, then you're like, you got overwhelmed. There's so much that's going on. What do you need to do? And then you had a friend say, hey, you're really passionate about this game. Why don't you just create a YouTube channel and go from there? Now, when you first did it, was it fun? I mean, were you kind of getting excited to come up with these ideas of what to do?
Yeah, I loved it. Like, I help people make a virtual currency in the game, and it felt so good to help people. And, you know, just reading the comments, thank you so much for this tip. And I enjoyed it, but like, it was just slowly drifting away the passion that I once had. Cause just a lot of factors with the mode, it was just dying.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do I do? Like I was at crossroads. Like I was getting ready to lose my sponsor, which was paying me like really good money. And
I mean, would you mind just kind of sharing the sponsor? Because I mean, I think a lot of people, like when you have 50,000 subscribers, they probably don't know what sponsorship looks like.
Yeah. So for 50K, I was making like 10K a month.
Oh, wow.
Which was insane.
That's actually pretty good. Like, did you have to integrate in every video or?
No, it was just monthly.
Oh, wow.
And I would just promote like for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So
That is so great. I wish every creator had a deal that they could
yeah,
get 10K a month for
yeah,
10 seconds.
yeah.
It's so great.
So when I understood that the mode was slowly, and it's dead now, it's completely dead. So I made the right choice. I
Yeah.
was like, what do I do? Where do I do with this channel? It's a 2K channel. So I started actually creating a new channel with GTA, and I'm like, I love modding. I absolutely love to alter
Yeah.
the game and add characters in the game and do cool stuff. And then I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's modding 2K.
Yeah.
There's like maybe 2 guys that are modding. Laserbeam, speaking of Laserbeam, he was
Yeah.
modding 2K 10 years ago. And I
Yeah.
saw his channel and I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I created the mods, started getting connections with different modders. And I created this video where I made Shaq dunk from 10 foot all the way to 1 foot, like
That's
can
right.
1 foot Shaq. And it got 44 million views. I was literally pacing in my room because I went from 50K to 200K
Yeah.
in literally a week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that happens, and I kind of want to focus in on this because I think a lot of people might have a video take off. They might not get as many views as you did, or they might get more, but they have a video that just takes off. You get really excited because everything that you dreamed about was kind of dealt with content creation, right? So you're like, hey, no one's modding this. Let's go ahead and start modding 2K. You had a great idea, and that's a really, really great idea, right? Mm-hmm. And then the video actually started to pop off. And for me, that's when it's like, that's probably when I get the most excited. It's like, oh, finally something that I created is so amazing that people love it and starting to share it. And to you, in that sense, you just saw your subscriber number and your view number just kind of climb, and I bet that was pretty, pretty monumental for you as you're grinding away for how many years before that? Like how much time?
It was like a solid 2 years, 2.5, I think.
Wow. So it's just like grinding away, but you had a good sponsor. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty jealous of that sponsorship. So I don't know who that was, but that was so great.
Yeah.
But it's like, you got to that level, you had enough where it was your full-time job, and 2 years into it, you saw some success. Now, what was going through your mind? Because I think the big thing more than anything else is, people come onto YouTube, they see the opportunity, and they're just maybe not as passionate around something. And it sounded to me that that's where you found it. So you found your passion. Mm-hmm. The viewers like it. They start watching your video content. And what does that do to you as a creator?
It changes everything. Like, just like you start, you're like excited to start recording again. Like, I was like not looking forward to record. I was like, oh, it's gonna take forever. But now I'm like, right before the stream, I'm recording a video already at 6 a.m. and I'm excited to get it out today at 2 p.m. Like you're more excited. And not only that, like it changes everything. I just quit my full-time job because I was doing YouTube and working in the medical field and as a social media manager recently with my brother. And I can finally quit and not be working for anyone ever again. And I can just double down and put more focus on my channel. And I still edit my own videos, but I plan on, hiring an editor. But still, it just changes everything because like you now have the money to afford things that you never afforded. You could buy a house, you like, whereas with my other house, with my old house, my old job, I couldn't afford it because I wasn't making that much money,
Yeah.
And YouTube really changed everything. And I don't look at money that way. It's more like it makes you independent. Like if you're successful, if you find success on YouTube, you can be independent from anyone else and you can work for yourself, which is like the dream job, and doing something like playing video games for a living is like, who would have thought you can make this much money playing video games for a living, So it just changes everything.
That's so true. That's so true. I love it. That's kind of your story. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful because like it shows in your content now that you're passionate about it. And what I love is you don't have to have a big team to do this. Like you just need to understand what you're passionate about and then create value for someone. And that's what you did. But let's kind of talk about the breakthroughs because, before you had that first video, and before you started to that first video that just really popped off and brought in the subscribers, I think it was like what was going on? I think seeing Laserbeam do it, years ago and say, oh, maybe there is an audience for it. But what was kind of that process? Because I think, there's a lot of people that are just about there. They're just about ready to cross over where they might have their first big hit, right? And so, kind of what was your process to learn what you needed to do and maybe transform your content a little bit? What did you actually do?
So after that short, there were some people. YouTube is very hostile too. You got to watch out because the comment section, they will destroy you if you're sensitive. So you got to make sure you're careful and don't let it get to you. But I had a lot of people start like clowning me and saying, "Oh, he's just a shorts channel now."
Yep.
And I was like, man, they're right, because I'm still pulling 1,000 views long form. My short form is doing great, but like, what do I do? So I signed up for Channel Jumpstart. And there, I knowledge was everything. That's where it changed everything. That's when my mind was like clicked. I'm like, okay, like for example, having the bucket strategy was like the biggest thing that helped me out. Finding something that works and you do it again and again and again, and when to stop. Like that's the key, because if you don't stop in time, you're gonna annoy the viewers.
Yeah, I want to dive into it because regardless if you do channel jumps or not, like everything is literally in the YouTube formula book. Yeah. And one of the things is really understanding audiences. And I know that with my students, because you're one of my students, like we get really, really hyper focused in on who's watching your content and why, right? So like we get way in depth on it. And then two, is finding a strategy where you can wash, rinse, and repeat because it's the same value. Like if the same viewer has the same value, and can go deeper with it, they are, because they're passionate about that. Yeah. And so for me, that's what the bucket system is. I go way in depth on that in the YouTube formula book. But let's kind of talk about the stages of it. So you read the book, you came into Channel Jumpstart, but when you started to do recon and research, when you started to go out and see what was out there, how did that change your perspective as a creator?
Basically, I was able to, like, when I was doing my recon, I was able to like really study channels and understand what was working and what was not. So I basically, in my niche, I studied all the modders in the past, and I noticed that like superheroes did really good, and like creating cool characters in 2K did really good. And I was like, how do I find access? And that's where it kind of changed. Like I found that those worked, but I noticed that the videos weren't that good. Made. So I was like, what if I make it better than theirs? And it worked. Like the videos, the bucket system popped off, and I putting the superheroes in the NBA, to creating giants, to now doing every sport. Yep. I have 2 videos long form that hit 1 million, and I was able to go from that now to every sport. And my next step is modding every sport. That's so great.
That's so great. So I want to focus in on this recon and research so that a lot of people understand, because you, like Andre, like you'll laugh at this because it's so true. But there's so many people that reach out and they spend like $1,000 an hour with me to do a consult. Now, I'm not laughing because I'm making a ton of money. I actually do it because I'm passionate about it, and really, I could charge a lot more, and I have with bigger brands and creators. But I like, that's kind of my threshold. But it's amazing to see how many people want to succeed on YouTube. Like every call that they just want to crush it on YouTube. And I will always ask this question. I just will, right? I always ask, what is your finish line? What do you want YouTube to do for you? Because what does that actually look like? And the second thing is the biggest, is like, how much time do you actually watch YouTube? And you would be amazed that no one watches YouTube. They want to succeed on YouTube, but they don't even watch it. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? It's like, if you don't become a student of this, like, how are you going to even succeed if you don't even know who's out there crushing it? And I have so many people, I don't watch YouTube. I'm like, you might as well give up now, man. You're not going to make it. If you don't watch YouTube, you don't understand YouTube. You don't understand creation. And so for me, recon and research is something that I love. I just did it this morning, and I do it every morning. because it helps me understand what's working on YouTube right now with the current viewers in specific areas, right? Like we can see what YouTube is actually serving up if you actually go through that process. And I go in depth and teach you how to do that in the book. But the key of this is really understanding, hey, why is this video performing? You know, why do they do it this way? And then in your case, it was, oh my gosh, they get a whole bunch of views, but they think it's just more the gimmick in the sense of putting superheroes in or whatever, and it's not. Maybe what if I take a little bit more time, energy, and effort on the edit and make it more entertaining? What's that going to do? And that's when it's like, boom, you know, you found an idea that came through recon and research, and you're like, I can make this so much better. I can do so much better with it. And that kind of led to, some success. But the key was, it just kind of led you on the path because you knew exactly what to do next, which is, hey, when something's hot,
Yeah.
you wash, rinse, and repeat, right?
Yeah. Like there's videos from the past that you can learn from and maybe redo, right? Because they work, because Mr. Beast actually does that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But then there's videos that are working now. That's why recon is so important, you know? So those are two great, because like right now you can get ideas from things from the past, but you can also really understand what's happening right now on YouTube in your niche by studying and creating that new recon channel and studying. It's just a game changer, really, because it's a cheat code.
Yeah.
If I knew that was like the biggest, that was literally, that's a cheat code. It's a cheat code.
Yeah, here's the thing. There's a lot of cheat codes, right? But it's not really a cheat code because you're actually going through a process for your content creation, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing is, a lot of people will say, do you know what? This is what I actually do. Okay. I'm going to just come up with the idea. The world's going to love it. And they're going to watch the video. No one could flip and care about your video or your idea. It's just like, they just don't. You know, it's like you have to earn that. And whether that's earn it from the ideation of the click, there's enough curiosity that can go from there. But realistically, people think just because they put time, energy, and effort into a video that everyone deserves to watch it. And when I'm saying no, it's like the other way around. Just because you put time, energy, and effort doesn't mean that people are going to watch it. You have to earn that. Yeah. You know, what are you going to do to earn it? So like from your perspective, it was like, I'm going to spend time doing recon and research, understanding my audience well enough of what they like, and it's going to give me ideas. And I'm going to have a list of ideas of what I can do. And I think that Shaq video was great. And I want to hone on to that because there's a couple key elements that worked really well. So like, I don't know if you can remember where you got the idea to do Shaq, you know, mod Shaq in there and just doing it different places. But do you remember doing that or?
Yeah, it was actually not an idea that I got from anyone. It was more like I saw a video, people were making giants. I was like, I wonder if a 1 foot player can dunk. Like I actually was wondering myself. I'm like, yeah, if I think that, then other people are gonna think that. So I might make the video. And I literally it took me 10 minutes to record the short. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it was just a great idea. But it came from the idea of videos that I saw of giants, but I got an idea from that and I thought of a bet. So like, that's how YouTube is. Like you see,
it so is. It like, yeah. I can't overemphasize this enough. It's like, you got to get ideas. Sometimes you're just pulling out of thin air, which is fine, you know, as long as you understand the audience really well. But you got an idea on the opposite. So it was a juxtaposition. So it was like, the whole thing was, you saw giants and you're like, okay, what if it was something else? You know, and so the ideas came, and that's when you actually started to go, oh, this is like really cool because I like it. I'm getting excited about it. And I know that my audience would, or people would as well. So I love that. Love that. So, so once that started to hit, and I want to talk about the euphoric moment, which is you saw the views coming in, you saw the subscribers coming in, and ultimately you're like, okay, did that give you more confidence on your content creation, or did it give you more hesitancy? Like,
I became so confident in myself that I was like, I can do it. I can finally do it. I just went all in. I was like all in. I remember my wife's like, are you sure you want to pay all that money for Challenge Jumps? I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Okay, I love your wife. There we go. It's like, you sure? Is this worth it? Putting all, I mean, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars to work with this kid. You know, why would you want to do that? That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. So it was honestly the best choice I made in my YouTube career by taking it, because it quadruply trillion multiplied by my income. I can't say, I don't know the word, but it like multiplied it by like 10x my income, and it's life changing. And I'm not a lover of money, but like the cool thing about Channel Jumpstart is, let's say you have a channel, right? Once you understand the system, you can apply it to anything else. So if you say you want to create a fitness channel, once you learn that system, you can apply it to that and find success. That's the beauty of it.
I want to go through, because like this is not like a promo for Channel Jumpstart. Basically, what I wanted to do is like just feature people that get it and roll from there. But I think it was like down to a couple key things. So you're passionate about something. You started to do, from the book, you started to do some recon and research, what led to seeing creators that are successful and start seeing patterns that are successful, right? And it got to a point where you had to take a risk. Now, all of us take a risk in one aspect or another, which was coming into the Channel Jumpstart, which is a risk in a lot of aspects, 'cause it's a lot of money. But ultimately, what you were able to do is start to decompress the stress level of being a creator, because you're surrounded by people that actually get it. They understand what you're going through. And sometimes we feel like we're on an island alone, which we're not, you know, and that's what I wanted to create as a community. But you also learn the system, which is you got to become a student of YouTube. You got to look at the intentionality of content. And then two, you got to be very critical. I think this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they think, oh, my content's so amazing. It's so great. People are going to love it. And yet they don't want to improve. And you know from working with me, like how do I view that? Because it's like at the end of the day, you know, it's like if we're not learning from content, I think we're going to be stagnant. Yeah. And if we're stagnant, we're going to digress. But like, how did that change your philosophy of what good content is, and what to select, and then two, how to improve?
Can you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it's just this, like going through learning the system. How critical are you now with your content and your ideas, and what's the thought process that you go through to come up with those great ideas?
Yeah, so I have like my trusty phone, and I put in my notes. When I go to the gym now. I start, you know, like I haven't worked out. I've gained 60 pounds, so I'm like trying to get back in shape. So going to the gym gives me so many great ideas. Watching videos, like, and as soon as I get an idea, I put in my notes, because you get so many amazing ideas. And then what I do is I go through my bucket system, and I narrow down my best ideas. So let's say if I have a list of 100, I narrow down to 2 really good ideas, because you want to make sure that you're putting out the best videos to reach the most amount of views. You know, that's the biggest thing for me.
So let's take that. So you have 100 ideas, and you're just kind of brainstorming. You're getting inspiration from. You're also kind of ideating on that. Yeah. And the list grows. Yeah. And I can say that most people might have 3 ideas, but yet you have 100. Why is that? Why do you have to have 100 ideas to kind of narrow it down to 2?
I think once you're in like the recon and you're obsessing about YouTube, you just can't stop. They just come to you. So you got to write it down, because sometimes it's that smallest idea that's the biggest one, you know, like the most random idea like just pops in your mind. Oh my goodness, that video is crazy. I got to record it right now. And sometimes you're building up that list, and you're like, what do I upload next? And then I go through the list. I'm like, dang, there's a lot. Like it's just, I think it just comes because like once you like really understand the system of YouTube, you start understanding, and the ideas come. They just start flowing.
They do, and I want to focus in on this, because the idea portion of it, I think, is one of the most underutilized opportunities that all creators can do. Okay, and so I love to go through the process, and you know this because you're my student, but I love to ideate. I love to come up with ideas. I feel like God's given me some gifts in that area that I can come up with some really unique things. And for me, my lists go on, and I'll actually do these slide decks where the ideas, I start formulating the videos and stuff like that. I've done that, you know, and it's just finding the right scenario, finding the right time, because it could be a great idea, but the wrong time, or the wrong audience, or the wrong channel, but it doesn't take away the idea. And I love the content creation around ideation. But my first thing that I do is, if I can't come up with a title or thumbnail for that idea, it literally goes to the bottom of the list. Like I don't even process. I don't even care about that idea. Why would that be the case, Andre? Like, why would I just, like, if I can't come up with the title and thumbnail, why would I put it all the way to the bottom? And we're talking thousands of ideas. Why would I do that?
Well, one, from previous experience, maybe you've experienced that before, because I've experienced it where I had a great idea and then I didn't know how I put it out, but the thumbnail and title didn't make sense with the video. Yep. Like, it just didn't match. And sometimes it's true, you'll have an amazing idea, but the title and thumbnail just won't work. It's just, that's just how it is. Because when the biggest mistake you can do is confuse your viewers, and if you confuse them, it's GG.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing too is you have to earn that view, right? So that's the way you earn the view, is to actually have them think about the packaging. So the packaging is the title and thumbnail. They need to coordinate. They need to make sense. I always like to go through the process of, you know, what is the simple way to explain what's going on. So let me give you a real life scenario that just happened a couple days ago. But I have a son that has been, he works for the company now. He works for my agency company, and he's all in on YouTube. And he kind of grew up around the biggest content creators on the planet, and you know, they're really great friends. And he's really good strategist too. I'll be honest with you, he's really, really good. He gets content on a deeper level that most don't. And I think it's just being surrounded by people that get it. But we were actually in North Carolina at Mr. Beast's compound. And the first thing when we came in, you know, because we had some time that we were going to spend with Jimmy, and they were doing thumbnails, and he's like, "Oh, Daryl, come sit down, sit down." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best thing for my son to actually watch," because he saw us come up with thumbnail ideas, but he never saw the complexity of what Mr. Beast goes through. So we were sitting down, and he's like, "Tell me what the best thumbnail is." And Jimmy always does like these tests, right? Like, we want to see if you still got it type thing. And literally, I picked the same ones he did, and he's like, "Oh," he goes, "Okay, it's good." So anyway, the thing about it though is, each video had at least 20 variations of it. And some of them were just drawn out. Some of them were actually detailed into it, but they had 20 variations. We sat there for an hour going through thumbnails, and it was like all the videos that were coming up, he was just kind of making sure that they were getting along. And one of his smart guys, Chucky, which I love, and he's been there for years, you know, he was kind of leading the charge. And for us, it was like, coming on, and there's small little details that most people would say, "Hey, this is a great thumbnail," and Jimmy and I were like, "Nah, like you need to be closer to it, or you need to add this to it, or there's something missing here," and we're really, really picky with that. And the whole reason why, Andre, more than anything else, and I was grateful for that opportunity for my son, is if you want to really understand how to get YouTube to work, that's the first place. Like that is literally the first place. Is you take your idea and you got to package it. Like, that's the first place. And I was grateful that my son was able to see it, because he was actually working on a thumbnail for thumbnail idea for there's a channel that he's managing and stuff like that. And I'm like, "Okay, did that give you ideas?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, I'm processing it completely a different way. So my whole thing is this. It's like, you can come up with the idea like you do, Andre, but if you can't figure out what the title and thumbnail is going to be, what the package is going to be, and it's not curious for people to click, why would they even want to watch it? Like, why would they even, if they don't click, they don't watch. And so like, that's the number one. So what's your process to go through? Like, I want to know this because here you have hundreds of ideas. You're going to the gym, you're coming up with it. You get really excited about 2 ideas. How do you take it from that ideation and get it as a title and thumbnail? What are you thinking about?
So I'll tell you my process. It might be a little bit different from others, but I have like 5 buckets that I rotate. And I don't like to like do the same one over and over. I like to kind of, mix it up and give variety and always do some creative concept behind it. Like maybe I'll put a superhero in the NBA or an anime character or Bronny, for example. I'm doing Bronny because he's trending and I understand it's trending. He's declaring for the draft for next year. So like it's really a lot of it has to do with one, if there's a new movie coming out. Let's say Deadpool 3 is coming out in the summer. I'll probably make a video because it's going to be trending. The RPM is going to rise because of ad revenue. So I look at all those factors, but I basically just rotate between my thumbnail ideas, and I'll have sections of, I'll put down every NBA 2K, which is a thumbnail, which is a bucket. Every sport, I made a giant. And then basically I rotate, and then I keep adding to the list of each one if I get an idea, each bucket. And then once the time is up for my next video, I go on to my next bucket and say, okay, which bucket should I do next? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this one, but which is the best idea out of this? What's the best right now? So that's my process behind it. And then after that, I have my thumbnails that I make, and they're the same style. Like they're literally the same style, and like
which is pretty much like they should be able to see, oh, this is your video. Like that's your branding element, which I love. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, which is something that you taught, because like you want to like it could be the same style, but it's different, and people, I think they're drawn to something that's familiar to them, but when it's just a little bit different, they're gonna click because they may have enjoyed your previous video and they're like, whoa, this is not foreign to me. This is something I know and I'm used to seeing this, but it's a different character. I want to see what happens with this. Or this is a different giant. I want to see this,
Yeah, I love it.
So that's kind of a process.
So I want to kind of reiterate, because you have a video that came out as I put Spider-Man in the NBA. So that's kind of where it was. So when the Spider-Verse was coming out, the last Spider-Man video 10 months ago or whatever, you did that mod.
Yeah.
And you picked a very specific thumbnail, which is I want to pull it up. Let me just pull this up, because I really love stuff like this. I love to get more in this detail right here, but hopefully you can see my screen. Can you see the screen? Let me make sure that. Yep, there we go. So here we have this thumbnail right here. What was going through the mind? Like it's so different. You have him falling down, but yet, going for a massive dunk. What was going through your mind? Like, why did you pick that thumbnail? And then 2, you have a 0 and a 99 on the other side. What does that represent? What does that mean?
Okay, yeah. So basically, there was this, how like people, how like there's sometimes like this comes with recon. So like how like in your niche, you'll notice that there's certain videos that everyone starts doing, like there's like that meta that everyone starts doing. So there's this kind of like meta where everyone was doing like this style thumbnail, but the title was different. It was actually LeBron James, but he's a 0 overall. That was a title, but that title didn't work. It didn't work for a video for, I think it was like a video before that. I think it was Spider-Man. I don't know, but I forgot. It's been a while, but it didn't work. So I changed it to I put, which no one was doing it. So then, and actually initially this was a different title, but from what I learned through the Challenge Upstart and the book, that after the video goes stagnant, you want to change the thumbnail, update it, because I actually got more views.
Yeah.
So like I got more views. So that was not the first thumbnail in the title. I changed it and it actually got more views. But basically, I found that thumbnail worked, and it since a lot of people were familiar with that, I used that, but with a superhero, and it worked.
No, I love it, because it's like, what is the idea that you're trying to get across? So it's like, it's the noob versus pro approach. If you guys
Yeah.
see this in just different videos and stuff like that, so you're able
Yeah.
to see the whole thing. So that's what it represents. But then the icon also represents, what level where they're at. So 0
Yeah.
versus 99, and that pretty much tells me, hey, I'm gonna see Spider-Man start out with a 0 and then get to 99, or you
Yep.
see the comparison of. So you already know the value proposition into it. And then 2, here you have something that's trending. And I'm gonna pull something else up, just so that people have this context. Let me just pull this up real quick because I think this is really important. Most people don't do this, but it's like this is something I'm like super obsessed with, which is knowing when certain things trend in the US or worldwide. But like you can see when things like pop off and when things go. So let me go ahead and pull this up and let me do the last 12 months. Okay, so this is what I want to, let me share my screen real quick. It's all right. This is what happened when you do it live. You get to come in and do some fun stuff here. But let me go here. Okay, right here. So you actually when you went through and did that video, this is when it hit. So you're like literally like you hit it at the top level of the interest. Like here you are coming up right at the perfect level when there's so much interest in the United States. We can go to different regions, but in the United States, like you couldn't ask for anything more. Why? Because that's what was going on. That's taking, hey, what's happening in trending, as it's called trend jacking, because you're like, oh, this would be a great idea. I really love it. You could have picked pretty much any character, but you're like, oh no, I'm gonna do this because the movie's coming out. It's going to be trending. People are going to be talking about it. People are going to be thinking about it. People are going to be very curious about it. And I'm going to put that in there. And that's where it actually came together. And it was like, oh, okay, that's really great. Because it's like, it created more relevancy from my point of view, when it came to that. So like, that's something that I love to teach. And like, you really crushed it there. I'm grateful that, I'm grateful for students that actually listen. You'd be so surprised how many people don't actually listen at all. And they just expect, oh, I'm going to have all the success in the world and I'm going to do that just because I watched your video or I've been a part of your program, but they just don't listen. And so just to see you come in and crush it here with this idea, and then now you know that it's going to work. So like you said, if there's something with Deadpool coming on, you can literally do the same video, but just change out Spider-Man to Deadpool, right?
Yeah, and maybe improve your edits a little bit, or add some cool cut scenes, or more harder, intense challenges to get them up to that 99 overall. So yeah, it's definitely something. It's a bucket that will forever live, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love it. And then 2, you have this video, and I want to just do this because this is a really cool one, but dunking with Michael Jordan in every NBA 2K, right?
Yeah.
That's just a dang good idea, right? First off, and then 2, I look at that and it's just like, oh, that could be a bucket that you keep on doing over because it's dunking with whatever GOAT player that you want to, and the longer the career, the better, or the more notable, it's great. But it's like a really good thumbnail idea because you have people that did old school that was on 2K from the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's that nostalgia when the game wasn't really that good, but it was kind of good because like there's nothing better at the time,
Yeah.
But it's great to see that. So I'm so I guess geeky when it comes to thumbnails. Like how do you approach a good thumbnail? Like when you're doing recon and research and you see it out there, do you feel like, oh, that could work for me? Or are you just in your system, you just already know what works now?
Like it was really hard when I first started because like you got to figure out, like you got to test. You say analyze and adjust. So you got to like analyze to me and just test it and then adjust if it doesn't work.
Yep.
What's the word you say? How do you say it? Like sorry, I always
plan, execute, analyze, and adjust.
Yeah. It's basically that. But like I always have a hard time saying that, but that I got the like the idea of that like from you, and basically like once you get it, then you already know what makes a good thumbnail. But like it was really hard starting out because I enlisted all my old videos for my team. There was almost 2,000 videos that had like under 1,000 to 5,000 views, and the thumbnails were not even that good. They were terrible. And like after learning from you that thumbnails are so important, I started analyzing other channels and see what type of thumbnails they're using, seeing different patterns on which ones are working, which ones are pulling the most views, and then basically use that inspiration and creating my own spin on it with like a different style, my own style, having my own style. So that's like the key, finding something that works and creating something in your own style.
Yeah, I love it. And I think once you get your style and you have kind of your brand, that brand essence, people can see a video and say, oh, okay, that's his video, or this creator's video. I love that, where you could just see it and they already know, because there's that implied authority that comes with it as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, so I love the process. For all those that are on, what's one thing that you learned here? Put it in the comments. It's really important that you do. Ronald was saying this, and this is really cool. I really like it. One strategy I learned is why creators change the thumbnail, and you basically changed the thumbnail, and you got another million views on it or whatever it was. It's just like that thing can always happen, and I think too, like. I like to look at, who's watching it, where they're watching from. And then when things shift, there might be a better thumbnail that works for a different traffic source. And so, I think that's kind of what happened with your channel, with that video, specifically.
I don't mind if you guys look at that RPM or the revenue on the LeBron 1-inch. You can click on it if you want. And I actually changed that. It was initially, I made LeBron a giant, but then it completely plateaued. You don't, if you want to show it, it's fine. But after I changed the title and the thumbnail, I made more money and more views. I gained another like 500,000 to 600,000 views, which equals more money. And that the strategy of just changing the thumbnail, when you notice that it's it's plateaued, it's not getting any impressions, then it's time. Like you can tell a lot from impressions.
You really can. Most people look at the view count. I like to look at the impression count, and really hone in on it. One of the best presentations I've ever seen at VidSummit, which was a couple years ago. There's a student of mine, FootCrunch, that came on, and he had this systematic way to change out his thumbnails to get another million views per video. Like every time he did it, he just got a million additional views. And when you look at those thumbnails, and you got to see the presentation, it's like one of the best presentations on the planet when it comes around thumbnail ideation and then also testing. But these thumbnails, people would say, were the worst thumbnails in the history of everything YouTube. Didn't have his face in it. Wasn't over, sensationalized. It was like very different. It was a different type of thumbnail, and he goes through the process of why he made it that way, and he made it like, because I teach my students to have multiple thumbnails ready to go and then switch it out as you understand it. But he was switching out, and it was bringing in a new audience that he never had. And they come love and engage. And it was like one of the best presentations ever when it comes to thumbnail ideation. And I think you hit on pretty much what he was saying is like, hey, you can learn a lot from it, but then two, it's like, where's the impressions at? And then two, how do we get that right click-through rate? Because like people generally just look at the click-through rate through the whole channel. You know what I'm saying? They'll say, oh, channel wide, my click-through rate's this. That's like the worst thing you could ever do. Like it's just like, yeah, you're taking an average. You got search and discovery and all the different traffic sources, and you're doing an average on it. That's what you're trying to do, instead of really looking at, 90% of my traffic's coming from browse feature, and understanding what a good thumbnail click-through rate is for your channel for that is really important. So
and it's true, having multiple, I still have, like, even after now, like I still have, if I'm not sure about a thumbnail, I will have multiple thumbnails, because like sometimes it's hard to choose. Like, oh, this was good. This was good. So I'll literally test them in the first hour to see which one has the best CTR. And you can really tell from the first hour.
Yeah, you really can. And it is something that I go way in depth in the book, which is understanding your own baselines, like understanding your own data. I think a lot of people compare themselves. They're probably saying, oh, in fact, Nikki and Kelly was asking this. It's like, what is the best click-through rate for a video in your opinion? It would be just higher than what you're currently doing. Like I always like to look at myself. I only compete with myself because if somebody might say, oh, what's your click-through rate? And I'm gonna try to get it, but the audience is different. And even when they think that they're in the same niche, it's different. It really is, you know? And so you're just competing with yourself and your viewers that come on to watch your videos. And so what I found is figuring out what your average is. That's what I call the baseline, and figure out the average per traffic source. That's what you're trying to do. And then really understand, how do you get just 2% higher or 3% higher? You know, and then realize that if you have more impressions, what happens to the click-through rate? It goes down, right? So it's like, that's why you're always watching the impressions. I'm watching the impressions because more impressions, your click-through rate will go down. That doesn't mean the click-through rate's bad. It's just saying, oh, you know, we're looking at it through the lens of, if you get a million views, your click-through rate is going to be different than if you have 1,000 views. It just is. If you have 1,000 views, your click-through rate should be exactly a lot higher. I actually have, I know this will blow you away for some of you, and you think, oh, this is ridiculous and it can't be true, but I've had like 98% click-through rate. I have. And it's not a Mr. Beast thing either. It's just knowing the audience, knowing who it is, click-through rate. Now, that was like on 1,000 views, right? But what if it was more impressions, more views when it got to 1 million? Well, when it was 1 million, it was about 20%. And people are like, oh my gosh, 20% would be super amazing. Well, it's not. Because our sweet spot was about 40% on that, you know, and so it'd be below where we thought it would be. And so we'd change out the thumbnail until we get up to that about 40% of the people that saw it would click on it. That's a pretty good ratio. And then too, YouTube realizes, oh, this is how many people that would be interested in your type of video, and that's the impressions that you're getting. You get that opportunity to get that title and thumbnail in front of them. So, which is cool. Okay, well, let's go through this, and I want to open it up to questions here in a minute. We got to give away some VidSummit tickets, which is great. Okay. But so you have your ideation, you have the title, thumbnail, and you went in depth on that, which I really do appreciate. And then you talked about, how am I going to make it different? Now, you're a solo creator right now, right? Like you basically don't have an editor, or you do everything yourself, right?
Yeah, only thing is I have just a thumbnail designer, but I design the thumbnails.
Okay, that's great.
But he makes them.
Yeah, he makes them, which is great, and I think that's awesome. I think everyone should. Usually, the first thing that they should need help with, right? But do you find yourself creating through your edit? Do you make that? Do you make your how am I going to ask this question? I think there's different people that create and make it better. And there's certain people that just really good at capturing what they need, but some people, their creative jam comes into the edit. Do you find yourself that's where your sweet spot is too, is getting that edit down, or where are you at on your edit?
I think the biggest thing about my channel is the idea that people want to click on it. Like I look as a YouTuber as we're onions, and we're peeling off these layers, and we're evolving and becoming better. And if you're not doing that, then you're not growing. So you want to not only look at your success, but look at what you need to work on. And I think the biggest thing is I need to hire an editor, because there's a lot of competition out there too, that you want to make sure you're the best of the best in order to be successful. Yep. And honestly, like, I think my edits are good, but they could be better, you know? So I think the biggest thing is, my biggest strength is the fact that I like to connect with my viewers. I like to, you know, engage with them in the comment section, a lot of comments, and really give them what they want to watch, you know, like, but I feel like, you know how there's some creators where they're so big, like, for example, I know TD Bricks, right? Yep. He has like he's only like 20, and like he's like it's so inspiring to see what he has done. He's built a community And I think that's the biggest thing I want is to build a community. Because when you have a community that's like, for example, what you guys have with what is it, the trucking to
Yeah,
towing?
Matt's off-road recovery. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you guys built a community. When you have a community, it's hard to break it. You can't mimic it with these YouTube automation channels. You can't like copy it. So I think the biggest thing is
Straight up, I'm straight.
creating a community. That's what I want. Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, I think I can only, I don't know. That's the one thing I'm struggling with right now is because I feel people watch me for the video.
Yeah,
idea.
it's all in stages, Andre. Like it really is. So like the first stage is knowing kind of how YouTube operates and where you put your focus and your time, and that's what you've done. You've literally done that, right? And then two, I do believe that even if your creative process is in editing, if someone can get it 90% there and you do the 10% and you save time on that, and then also you might get things that are better than what you want, that would be a great scenario. Like I've always encouraged that with every creator that I have, because editing takes so much time to do it right. And it's not that you don't have the time, but is that the best use of your time? I think it's just the ideation, getting the content done, getting it up to a point where you can hand it off and getting it 90% there or 80% there. And then you can come in and fine tune it. And for me, I love it where the video is so good, and I've done this too. Is getting editors is like they do it 10x better than I thought it was. Like, oh, that was a great idea, or I never thought about that. That was like really dope, or oh, let's try this or whatever, and it brings in more creativity. But then they go out and do the hard work in the sense of getting it there for you to approve. And so I'm always for that. But I love what you say about community. You know how passionate I am about community. I think it's all about community building from day one. And I think a lot of people look at the views as the indicator, or money as the indicator as being successful on YouTube. I look at it as people that are loyal, coming to whatever you're doing or wanting to be a part of it. And that is a big deal for me. And so a lot of the channels that I focus in on is the community development's a really big step. Now for you, you're at that stage. Like that's what I love about YouTube is like we're all at different stages, and hey, you realize, hey, this is where I need to go. And I can honestly say, I want you to go back through Foot Crunch's, I know we mentioned it before, but his talk, because he was at the same stage. Like he did not have a community, and he wanted to do bigger videos in a new way, and he actually had to evolve as a creator. And I think that's kind of where you're at too, is really trying to evolve as a creator, and take it to the next step where people, it's more about you, and they're clicking on the loyalty of you, presenting, and roll from there. And that's what I love. That's what I love. So. Well, cool. Well, I'd love to kind of open it up to some questions. So if you have a question for Andre or myself, go ahead and put it in the comments. There were some really good ones that came in, but I really like this one. I think we overcomplicate YouTube. And now that you know what success looks like, now that you know what your video content is, it's easier for you to come up with ideas. It's easier for you to get energized by an idea that translates into millions and millions of views, which I love. And then it transformed. I mean, you basically said, look, when you started to understand that you cracked the code, even though you had like some great sponsorship money, you're getting a ton of new opportunities now where you get to decide what you do. You can reinvest it, you can do whatever, but ultimately these opportunities still take it to that level. And I'm just saying, if you can crack the code on the community side, that will make it look like a drop in the bucket. Like it will. Like if you can get the community involved with it. So let me go through. Let me pull up some questions. You cool with questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here's a super chat. How would I go about finding out if I can create a gaming content across different games like Call of Duty, Fortnite? Trust that the crossover would actually be there. Hope to make it to VidSummit. So this is a tough one. And I'm curious from your perspective, do you see in your recon and research, do you see content creators that can actually go from game to game to game to game And what does that actually look like? Is there a good crossover between games? Do you see channels out there that's like that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of like, how we say, older YouTubers that started early on, so that's why they're still successful, like Hollow and these other big
Yep.
creators. But I would say it's hard because it's very competitive, because there's a lot of people doing it. I would niche down. So for example, there's some people doing platinum trophies, and it's on the rise. And when you see that there's a very niche down, like for platinum trophies, maybe you're maybe you're going to want to get a platinum trophy on PlayStation for Fortnite or for Call of Duty or different Call of Duties. Let's say you're a big Call of Duty, do it for all the Call of Duties. And I promise you, you're going to grow. It's all about finding what's working now, because if you want to do like if you just want to sit there and play a game, every game, that's easy. Anyone can do it. You want to
Yep.
find something that's intriguing, that makes people want to click, something that's maybe like original and different. You know,
Yeah.
you can do that, or you can go for a niche down, like platinum trophies and platinum different trophies, or maybe do it for Xbox if you're on Xbox, or maybe you can do different challenges for every sport. Like, it's really finding on what works, and you want to study YouTube to see what is working right now.
I would say that it's very difficult to not to succeed if you don't niche down. And the
Yeah.
reason why is if they like, let me just give you an example. So we have 2K, and if they're playing Call of Duty, totally different types of gaming experience, right?
Yeah.
And I know that you're not saying that, you're saying Call of Duty and Fortnite, but I'm just saying there is people that just are in for the basketball, and they want to get obsessed with basketball, and they like 2K, and they like to be around that culture of that. And so when you you have that other video, you'll have a you know, increased opportunity for people not to click. Because if they came for basketball content and 2K content and they go to the next, it's not there. So that's why niching down is really important. Now, Andre said it right. There's like older YouTubers that have been around that they can do whatever they want, and they're more of a personality channel, and that's true. But you got to earn that. And if you really go back and look, you know, of who and where they came from, it was really niching down, and then their personality outweighed what they were playing. And then that's when they were able to broaden it up and play new things. But if you really go back and look, most of them are around a specific title. And that's what I would encourage you to start out as. And then as you grow and create a community around it, then you can kind of go from there for sure. So very, very good. We got Jason saying that VidSummit looks awesome. Might have to attend this year. We're going to be giving away a couple tickets to VidSummit. And then this is one I'll have to. Crazy May is VidSummit handicap accessible? Yes, it is. Like, we literally have. It's very handicap accessible in that whole place. And then two, we'll have to look at the accommodations portion, but there are hotels that do have the handicap accessibility. And transportation too. So, and it says that you might have reached out to VidSummit a few months ago. Just go to vidsummit.com, and there's like a chat bot there. Just click on it. That will go directly to the team. You can go from there. So really, really good. Okay, let's go into this question right here from Arlos. Do you have fixed days on which you work on different aspects of your creation process?
What can you explain what you mean by fixed days?
Do you like every Mondays you do this, every Tuesday you do this, every Thursday you do this, or
I have an upload schedule. It's all about your upload schedule. So like, you want to time it. So like, for example, I need to get my upload schedule. Like, I know it's Friday and Monday, Tuesday, Friday. No, I know it's Friday and Tuesday, but I ended up going back Saturday, and it's so hard because being a sole editor, editing is like the hardest thing, because you got to create a story. You gotta like make it free flowing. You got to make sure your average view duration is on top, you know, like top moment. If you like, my recent one, my Goku one was the top moment, and I know it will grow, because when you make a good video, it will find its audience, and when it finds its audience, it will go whoop like that. It's all about having that top moment. So like, for me, my strategy is basically, like, for example, like, Friday, I create the thumbnail. No. Like for example, right now I'm editing the video, right? And I'm going to post it. Then tomorrow I work on my thumbnail already. I'm already working on my thumbnail. I get it out really fast. Monday I edit, and then Tuesday morning Monday I record, and then Tuesday morning I edit. So it's like a 3-day process, and then I post it, and then I repeat it. So like I wouldn't suggest overwhelming yourself by doing it all in one day, because it's a lot of work. Like if you put a lot of quality into your work, it's so hard, because the recording might take 2 hours, and then the editing might take 10 hours. So you got 20 hours there, 10, and then the thumbnail is probably like 5 hours for me, like just figuring out which one works, communicating with the designer. So 25 hours, give or take, for my videos. So you want to like spread it out. So just find your schedule.
I think everyone's different, and you got to find what's best for you.
Yeah.
I like to time block, and like all my ideation, when I'm in the zone to ideate, I can come up and probably do 100x better ideas when I'm in the zone. And so I try to program myself to get there. I know that early mornings I can get super creative, and then 2, I know the process and the tools that gets me super creative. And so I like to trigger those, and then I like to time block, 20, 30 minutes where I'm just coming up with ideas. And you do the same thing, because you're just more pondering your stuff at the gym, and you're like, this would be a great idea. And you're like, you're like doing reps, and you like have to stop and put that idea in the phone. But that's kind of where your creativity goes. And I think we just all need to find where that is for us. And then 2, the triggers. I think your ideas come from you're not thinking about anything. You're just doing some mundane tasks of lifting weights or whatever. And that's when you're just like, oh, it'd be really cool if, and you kind of brainstorm on that. And I think everyone just needs to figure out what the triggers are for them.
Yeah.
So, which is really cool.
I think it varies. Every person is different. I mean, that's how my process goes.
Yeah.
So.
Let me pull this one in. Nikki and Kelly, my niche is women/mothers to feel like they have a best friend, but analytics say that we have more men as subscribers. Still trying to figure out how to redirect and target women. Wow. So I want you to take a step back. And it's really easy. And I don't know if it's Nikki or Kelly or both of you are on or whatever, but it's like you can use analytics to see which videos actually brings in a higher percentage of women. And then I like to look at what is the titling and thumbnails, because guys are very visual. And if things are visually appealing for guys, they're going to click on it. That's just the way that it is. Okay. And so what you want to do is see what would be visually appealing for women, and what are the titling that are around for women, especially when it comes to women and mothers, and really hone in on that. And there might be still some curiosity and some bleed over onto males clicking on it. It just is. But you can go into analytics, and you can sort it where you're able to see, who's watching what, the demographics, and really hone in on this. I know I've worked with a lot of channels that'd be like 50-50 or 60% male, 40% female. Male viewers actually watch more YouTube, just like put it out there. There's more males watching YouTube than any other demographic out there. The difference would be is understanding who responds to what, and then honing in on that packaging, and then bringing that value in. And I've seen it where people would do this process where they would have 60% male, 40% female, and they would look at what worked for women and did it, and went up to like 98% female, 2% male. And they wouldn't get as many views, and they're like, well, maybe we need to go back. No. If you want that audience, then you need to hone in on it, lean in on it. And then you've got to give enough content that audience would want to click on, and that's where you can see that. And I can say the biggest channels have pivoted their audience when they really focus in on who they want to resonate with, because their content, their passions around that, and then their packaging and fulfillments on that as well. So that's a really great question. I really like it. Let's go to do one more question. And this is coming from, let's see, no, that's the wrong one. Right here. Brandon says, what do you do to help get you in the creative headspace?
Can you explain to me what you mean by that? Like, sorry,
how do you become creative? Like, what do you do to get creative?
I think like you know how Daryl said he's pretty creative. He gets ideas. Like I think I have that kind of gift, but I think you can get creative just by studying YouTube. If you're obsessing about YouTube and let's say you're always watching YouTube, you're going to find a lot of creative ideas just from that. So if they don't come to you just by walking outside, kind of like what I get, you can get actually so many creative ideas just by watching YouTube.
Yep.
Really. That's all it takes.
Yeah. I like, there's several ways that I get creative. I think number one, I can kind of feel it. I can feel like I'm my brain's firing like on better, and there's several things I can do. I like to get inspiration around something, so I go through an exercise where I'll go to Google Images. I don't go to YouTube, and I will just type in something. It could be, it could be 2K. 2K, and then I might add a plus sign, and then Michael Jordan, and then I'm able to see just images. I don't like to go to videos because then I end up watching the video, and if my idea, if I'm all about getting ideas, I need to just kind of go around that. So it could be a topic or a thing, and I like to think of 10 different ideas around a topic. And I visually, like if I get a visual idea, if I get a visual cue, I can come up with an idea. So I love that style. I do that probably the most when I'm by myself. Now, the other one is I get a lot of feedback, creative feedback. When I'm having conversations with creators, and they might say, "Hey, what do you think about this video idea?" And when they say that, I'm having them kind of explain, and then I can kind of level it up, or I come up with 10 different ideas. In fact, I was actually with a big YouTube creator, and I mean big, like this guy's big, and it's not Mr. Beast. And we were going through, and he kind of hired our team to come in and to optimize his team and stuff like that. And we were sitting in his ideation meeting, right? And it was a kind of pitch meeting where his creative would come in and start pitching to him. And they were just kind of glossing over all the ideas. And I just stopped and I says, I can guarantee you there's only 2 people in the room that just realized what the best idea was, and you just skipped over it. And I looked at the creator, and he goes, yeah, that was like a banger idea, like banger idea. And I'm like, let's take a minute, even though that you have this, and let's come up with 10 ideas around this, which he did. And the team did, and we just took just a quick little exercise, became the biggest video he's ever done in his life. And it was all around just that idea, right? And so I like to brainstorm with others and then just try to say, look, there's no bad idea. Let's just really just start honing in on it. And I can get in a flow, and I love that flow state. That's one of my favorite ones to do it. So like for me, I like to use images, and then 2, I like to be surrounded where we're in a brainstorming creative meeting, and I can do that for days. I don't need to do it in small little jaunts. As long as I know I'm preparing myself for that, I can do that. And then the last way that I do it is actually YouTube. Just seeing, going through recon and research, which Andre was talking about, and just seeing what's out there. And then I'm like, oh, that would lead to this idea or whatever, But outside of that, I don't get random ideas that just come to my head. I have to create an atmosphere that gets me ready to have that idea come. So that's just me. So
also comment section too.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah, I would say that's the 4th for me. I mean, I get more ideas out of the comment section than most, for sure.
You have like 1,000 likes on one comment. You're like, okay,
you're
this
like,
is idea.
What's going on there? Yeah. There's something there. Yeah. Touche. Very good. Okay, so let's do this. I want to feature VidSummit. Now I'm going to play the VidSummit promo videos. I want you to stick around because I want you to help me pick someone. But we're going to do the promo video, do hashtag VidSummit. I'm going to get this all ready to go where we can do a giveaway. So while it's playing, use in the comments, hashtag VidSummit. We're going to give a ticket away. So. All right. Well, should we give a ticket away? Should we do that?
Sure, yeah.
You're like, yeah, sure.
It's hard.
But
It's
no.
hard, dude.
We're gonna do the
So
easy
many-
one first. The easy
Yeah.
one's the easiest, right? So all we got to do is like hit this button, and someone's gonna win. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. This is the first one that we're giving away. Come into VidSummit. You're gonna get a ticket. This is super great, and the winner is Brandon McBurney. Brandon McBurney, you are coming to VidSummit. Now, I'm going to take a picture of this just so my team knows that when you reach out, we're going to bring you to VidSummit. You're actually going to get a ticket. You got to come on your own. But really, really excited to have you there. And all you need to do is either DM me on Twitter or just go to the vidsummit.com page. Just hit that you got the ticket, and my team knows what to do. They can go through that process. So congratulations, Brandon McBurney. Really, really excited that you're coming. Now, I do want to give away one other ticket, and I want you to let's pick like if you were to go back in time and you were struggling. And you're trying to figure things out. And I know that you kind of had that point of clarity when you read the book and you came into my group coaching. Let's really focus in on that. If you feel like you're in that position where you're just not figuring it out, how many years were you doing YouTube before then?
Like 2.5 years.
Okay, so if you've been doing YouTube for at least 2.5 years, put it in the comments right now, okay? And I'm gonna do this. We're going to try to pick someone. And if you've been there for doing YouTube, but you just haven't figured it out, put it in there. Oh my gosh, there's somebody that did it has been doing it for 17 years. Like, here we go. Okay, really good. I don't know, you're probably not seeing the comments. So
I've seen them 11 years, 1.5 months, 3 years. 9 years. So yeah, a lot of people have been doing YouTube for a very long time. I have one in mind.
Oh,
and
okay.
it stood out a lot to me. Well, she commented earlier and she said that she was struggling to find the audience for women. And I think it's Nikki.
Oh,
Nikki?
yeah. So
I think that would be very helpful to her to
okay,
attend.
so there was two of them, right? Nikki D and Kelly B, right?
Yeah, the one I'm not sure is there's two, so maybe you can give one ticket out to one of them and the other one.
Well, I think we got to give them two. Like, they can't come by themselves, right?
Yeah, I think that would be super helpful to them because like there's so many great speakers there, especially a lot of women there that can help you so much, and like that would be so super helpful.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is, even though they were giving 2 tickets away, we're gonna give 3 because that's what we do. Like that's what we do. And then 2, believe it or not, one of my biggest focus was for the last couple of years was to have more of a female presence. And this last year was the first time I'm like finally go, hey, we've arrived. We had a really good representation of women that were there. So Nikki and Kelly, you're coming to VidSummit. Like you guys got it. 2 tickets. We'll actually have you do the same thing. Either DM me on Twitter or go to the vidsummit.com, and just do that and say, hey, you were on the live stream, and we'll get you tickets, which is really, really great. So, Andre, well, that was good. I'm glad that it kind of stuck out, and it was a good question that was there for me. I do love helping people. Like, this is probably not the most efficient use of my time. I got other businesses, as you're well aware.
Yeah.
I actually got in here like at 2:00 this morning because I was working. I went to an AI thing that I'm doing for one of my businesses, and then went to work with Mr. Beast for a little bit, and I was flying home. And so I got home at 2:00 in the morning, and I woke up and I'm like, dude, I actually get to talk to Andre today because I know that your story is going to help so many different people because it's their story too. So I want you just to kind of finish out this live stream and just share like what you've learned and what people should focus in on. Like this needs to be your best advice that you can possibly give to yourself. Like if you're going to talk to yourself way back when you're struggling, what do you need to focus in and what do you need to do?
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say thank you, Daryl, again for this opportunity. Like, you helped me so much and it literally catapulted me to where I am as a YouTuber now, and it helped me out a lot. And if I were to like, my biggest advice to someone right now, if they were starting YouTube, is number one, passion. If you're not passionate about it, you're gonna get so burnt out that you're like, oh, it's gonna start feeling like a job again. So number one, if you have passion for something and you understand the formula that Daryl teaches, you're gonna explode. That's it. Like, really passionate. Like, for example, I'm passionate about fitness. I want to start a fitness channel. I'm working on it right now. I'm ready to start to record. Super passionate about it, and I want to help people. I want to motivate others, and that's the passion that you want. You know, I want to help these people, and I want to also hold myself accountable to get back to the stage, to share my journey and build a community, and that's the biggest thing. And then once you understand the system, you go through with it, and you will find success. I promise you. That's my big.
Yeah, I love it, and I think you hit it on the head. And I know you give me a lot of credit, but honestly, you just need to be pointed in the right direction. Like you're putting in the hard work, you're going through the time. You listened. You actually became a student of YouTube and started to listen, and that's where I get excited. That's the reason why I can get up and really have energy to do this instead of doing other things, is because I'm passionate about helping people like you transform your life. Because like really, if you look at your life before this and now after, and then two, I just know the possibilities. I'm really excited that you're going to do the fitness channel because you figured it out. I think you can build a huge community around that. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. But then two, you're just barely scratching the surface of what you can do, and I'm excited to see you take it to that next level, which I love. So really, really grateful for you to come on, and then two, I'm grateful for the people that come on every Saturday when I do this. I know I do it sporadically. It's just whenever I can slip in, and I know that what Andre was able to share with you today is very, very valuable. So I'd encourage you to go back, re-listen to this, and then don't miss out on VidSummit. Like we are ahead of schedule. Like we've never been this ahead of schedule in selling out before. You want to get your tickets right now. It's something that when they're gone, they're gone, and I can tell you they will be gone because like last year was crazy, and people are having a hard time getting a hotel room. So you got to do that now. It is earlier. VidSummit is earlier than we've ever done it before. It's in September right now, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And I can tell you, we've locked in one keynote speaker. Apparently an email went out today, which is great, but I have not announcing it, and I'm going to do it properly on this side. But we do have a couple big keynotes, one which I've been trying to get for 11 years. And they're coming, which I can't wait to announce it. We're just on the final stages of that, which is super, super exciting. So, Andre, thank you so much. Really do appreciate you coming on and bringing value to everyone out there. And then two, I'm grateful for all of you. Can't wait to see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Okay.